Introverted, intuitive, feeling, judging, also known as INFJ, one of 16 personality types according to the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. INFJs are commonly called advocates, and they're one of the rarest types among all 16, as they represent only about 2% of the population. They have a deep and thoughtful approach to everything, and they rely on their inner vision and personal values to find their way through life. Advocates are righteous, and one can safely assume that they're mature, calm, and collected. However, they can sometimes seem stubborn, hot-headed, or outright ridiculous. That's because there are some things that particularly get under an INFJ skin, and that's exactly what we're going to reveal in this video. Welcome to Dream Thinker, where we explore the psychology of different personality types. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you can be notified whenever we release new content. Here are 12 pet peeves of INFJ. Number 1. One-upping. Advocates are always looking out for patterns to make sense of the world, so they quickly spot patterns, especially in people with self-serving motives. They're also humble and principled. So, anyone who constantly brags or attempts to have the upper hand in a conversation will immediately get under their nerves. Things along the lines of, "Oh, you're in pain because you busted your toe? I just broke my leg." Number 2. Generalization. Advocates will never make a judgment unless they have enough context and evidence. They're natural perspective shifters, and they often like to remind people of the bigger picture and other nuances to consider. They believe every situation is unique and has multiple layers of meaning and motives. Things along the context of everyone from that place must be that way. Number 3. Interruptions. Advocates crave focus in every aspect of their lives. They hate multitasking, and they love exploring a topic or an idea in depth. Getting interrupted while talking, working, or even thinking is extremely annoying to them, because they tend to have a lot of complex connections in their thought at any given point. And a quick interruption like a text message or someone calling for them can break all these connections. Number 4. Criticism. Advocates can be extremely sensitive to it, even if it's a genuine and constructive feedback. They're the most idealistic personality type. They do everything on principle and care about doing the right thing more than their own personal gains. So if someone challenges their principles or personal values, they won't take it lightly. INFJs can become exceedingly defensive in the face of criticism, especially when it's an insult to their core beliefs. If you're dealing with an INFJ, avoid criticizing their beliefs at all costs. And if you want to give them feedback, frame it in a positive way and start with a drop of honey. Also make it seem casual and try mentioning someone else's work as an example. Something like, "The presentation was really good. It reminded me of a similar presentation I gave when I was your age. You want to know a secret? I learned the hard way. Do this, this, and that." This way, they'll feel like you're genuinely trying to help, and you'll have their guard down. Number 5. Perfectionism. Advocates can be extremely frustrated by things like forgetting the toilet seat up or not having their tools perfectly aligned on the desk. And they can spend a ridiculous amount of time fixing their shoelaces or cleaning their glasses. INFJs are idealistic, and they can sometimes spend too much time and effort on something to make it live up to their ideals. This is great in many ways, since they wouldn't produce anything for less than a stellar quality. But it can also mean that they waste too much resources when an alternative solution would be more efficient. It's too difficult for them to let go of a perfect scenario and make do with Plan B, because Plan A is too expensive or too difficult. They're willing to go to great lengths to make sure everything is 100%, even if it's not worth it. This also means that it can sometimes be difficult for advocates to start something, because they're waiting for the right time or preparing the right circumstances needed to make the thing perfect, which can make them lose a lot of opportunities and can sometimes be perceived as procrastinators. Advocates can sometimes find it difficult to appreciate their jobs, living conditions, or relationships if they're constantly focused on imperfections and wondering if they should look for something better. Number 6. KOINOPHOBIA, aka the fear of the average. Advocates might get annoyed by ordinary days and casual outings, and they might try to always go above and beyond with everything they do. INFJs are motivated by the sense of having a greater purpose in life. Their dream lives is one in which they can create solutions that change people's lives. They want to have a real impact, whether by achieving world peace or taking a lady out on the greatest date in her life. Even though this can spurt them into achieving great things for humanity, it can sometimes backfire. An advocate might get extremely frustrated if their life gets tedious, or they can't see how what they're doing on a daily basis will contribute to their big visions. They can seem impatient and might quit too soon. Number 7. Lying. Advocates can see right through it, and they hate it. In fact, they can often be brutally honest and unintentionally offensive. People lie to make themselves look better, or hide a mistake or failure they've made, or to protect someone's feelings and spare their pain. INFJs don't really care about any of these things, so they just don't have a reason to lie, and they relentlessly judge anyone who does. They tell it like it is, and if it hurts someone, well, too bad. It's still the truth. They're humble, so they have no regard to title or status. They talk to their college professors and bosses the same way they talk to the janitor or someone who works for them, with respect and honesty. They have a mindset that goes, the only reason there has to be a guy who tells children Santa doesn't exist is the guy who told them Santa does. Number 8. Extroverted sensing is an inferior function for INFJs, which means it's not super common among advocates, but they tend to develop it more than other personality types. Those who develop it are hyper-aware of the information relayed from their senses. They don't have super noses or taste buds, they're just more involved in and aware of the smell and taste. They can feel the cold breeze on their skin, enjoy the sound of music, or marvel at the deliciousness of food. However, this can also mean that they would suffer from pain more than other people would, or they're extremely prone to having pet peeves like chewing noises or bright lights. They can be extremely annoyed if it's too hot or too cold, if something smells or if it's too noisy, and they might find it difficult to be productive under suboptimal physical conditions. Number 9. Asking personal questions too soon. Advocates are hard to open up. Because of everything we've mentioned, INFJs aren't exactly open books. They're reserved and prefer to stay quiet most of the time in order to preserve their principles from any external scrutiny and avoid being judged for their different preferences. They're also annoyed when someone asks them, "Why are you so quiet?" So, it requires extra effort in order to be in a relationship with an INFJ, or even become close friends with them. Number 10. Casual dates and one-night stands. Advocates take the process of finding a love partner very seriously. They look for depth and meaning in their relationships, refusing to settle for anything less than true love. For obvious reasons, this can make it very difficult for advocates to have a romantic life, and they often end up having a dilemma between sticking to their ideals and fulfilling their desires. It takes a huge amount of time for advocates to find the perfect partner, and they're not willing to fool around until the time comes. Number 11. Mainstream celebrity obsessions. Advocates have strongly defined preferences. They don't like something or someone just because everyone likes it, so they hate it when someone pretends to like something just because it's trending, just because it would be cool to like it. They look within themselves to find what they truly enjoy in life, and they're not afraid to embrace it. So, they have different tastes in music, food, art, places, and pretty much everything. This can cause advocates a lot of trouble, because it's either perceived as weird or just trying too hard to be different. People mistake the INFJ unique preferences as being too cool for school, and it can be frustrating trying to prove otherwise. Number 12. Pretentiousness. Advocates have the extroverted feeling property, which means they're hyper-aware of other people's feelings, they're highly empathetic and idealistic, and they're conscious of the fact that everyone has their own life and story. So it's really easy for them to spot it when someone isn't being sincere and trying to deviate them from their true selves. Also, this clashes with the INFJ's particular disapproval of lying. So as soon as they recognize someone is being pretentious, they're immediately put off by them. Even though this video might have painted a picture for advocates as doomed to struggle through life, that's not the full picture. It's simply the angle of this particular video that shows them in this light, since we're exploring and scrutinizing their pet peeves and struggles through life. Thanks for watching.